Yo everyone, my name is Vipers from Vipers DTG and I hope you are having a lovely day today. You might be wondering what's going on. If you've seen the thumbnail and the title of this video, then it is, basically it's a question. Is Magic the Gathering beginner friendly? That is something we are going to be going over in today's video. I'm going to go over a couple of points and explain it. But before I do want to apologise for the last video if you saw it. It was a Yu-Gi-Oh video, so if you're here for Magic or you only watch the Magic stuff, you may be oblivious to this. There was some audio issues. I should have worked that out for next time. I think I've realised what the issue was and it should be fixed. However, I do just want to apologise. The next video going up, it will be a Yu-Gi-Oh related video. So once again, I apologise in that as well, just for those audio issues, because it's not great. However, I don't want to take the video down because I do feel like I made some valid points. I do want it to stay up. But without further ado, we are going to go into this video. So while we are about to break down what it's about, if you want to stay around for some more content, click subscribe. If you do like the idea of the series, give it a like and comment your opinion on the question itself. Is Magic beginner friendly? So in front of me here, I have essentially two decks. One is, obviously, as you can see here, a proper full-on Magic deck. It is a blue-black. And in here is another full-on Magic deck. However, these are two completely different products. So Magic the Gathering, it's been going on for quite a while at this point. There's a lot of cards to consider when making things. However, is it beginner friendly? That's the question here. And ultimately, that's what we're going to be breaking down as such and answering those kind of questions. So the first thing we need to look at is cards. It's just to show. So this is a standard deck, and by standard deck I do mean the standard format. In here you will have all your cards, and each card is broken down into its own categories. So we have a really bright light. I probably should have checked that first. There we go. I mean, it's still there. So we'll just put the cards over here. So we have creatures, which are monsters you summon. You have sorceries, you have instants, you have lands. You have artifact, which is our equipments. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here that's going to jump out that may be worth bringing up. Legendary creature, creatures, instants, creatures. No, not that I can see. Just either special, get back up there. Creatures, lands, instants, creatures, sorceries. No, I think we got everything from here. Wicked. Oh, yeah, I probably should include one of them. Do you know what? Let's be better to use one of them. Huzzah. So, Magic the Gathering can essentially be broken down into a couple of card types, which some people may be happy to hear, which makes it, in my opinion, pretty straightforward. You have creature cards, which are self-explanatory. They're the creatures that you will be summoning throughout the game. So here we go. We have a 1/1. Sorry, not even a 1/1. We have a 2/3 3-mana creature. Now you might be wondering where the 3 mana comes from. That's up here. So you see it's these 2 and then a black. So that's 2 mana and one of these. As you see, we've got the little skull icon down here to represent it. So that's 2 of any mana and a skull. I'll get to that next part as well. So summon it, and you then may have an effect on it or not. So when this creature or another creature or artifact you control dies, the target opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Very simple, very easy to follow, which is what we like. Next up, might as well cover it. We have the land cards. These are basically essential for playing the game. Let me just try and turn that away so you can actually see the cards when I bring them up to the camera. There we go, much better. So you can see here, it's a land card. This one's a full art one. This is basically what you'll be using for the majority of the game. What you need to get anything done is land cards. Land cards give you access to things like instants, which can be activated at an instant, henceforth why they're called instants. And responses, sorceries, we'll go into them next. They can only really be used on your turn, unless there's a card that gives it an effect that you can play at any point in time, yada, yada, yada. You know how they work. This one just creates a token that's a copy of the artifact, creature, or land. Did that say create a token? Oh, we have tokens. These don't really do anything. They're more just there to help show that something has happened. So, for instance, realm sketching, create a token, and then, you know, You'd be like, huzzah, look, I have a copy of something. And finally, we have the artifact and enchantments. This is all the card types that is in Magic, which makes it quite easy to understand, in my opinion. There's not a lot here to remember or focus on. This is like normally they'll be like your continuous cards more than anything. Sorceries and instants are sort of one-time use. Your lands will be there forever. Your creatures will be there until they're destroyed or knocked out or whatever. So let's just set up what an example board would look like, and you guys let me know whether this looks confusing for you. So what we'll do is you'll have your deck over. You know, let's move everything over slightly. I don't need to be that far over to the left. So you'll have your deck. You'll have your banishment. They're normally next to each other. Obviously, there'll be a graveyard. I actually wanted that one. And then somewhere normally over to the side, you'll have your enchantments. But normally this is how it will look. You'll tap your land when you use it. If you use your creature or attack with your creature, you will tap with that just to show that it has been used. And then obviously you'll have these over here, and let's say that was equipped to this. Normally people just tend to play it underneath or some kind of combination like that. But that's just to show that that card is in fact being used. Which I think, all in all, isn't overly complicated as a layout format. Now, I think that the number of cards they have is really good, in the sense of there isn't too many things you need to remember. The only downside is each set tends to bring with it its own mechanic. Do I have one to hand? That would be great. Let me just check this pack. I mean, that's got some on it, which is great. I promise, I am normally a little bit more organised than this. Do you know what we'll use you? So, as you see here, these are two different cards. So this one has Flash, Flying, and Mayhem. But as you can see here, it tells you what it does. Mayhem, you may cast this card from your graveyard for its Mayhem. If you discard it this turn, timing rules still apply. So you can still understand what it does. And then obviously we look at Spider-Man, you've got web slinging here as well. You may cast this spell for the web slinging if you also return a tap creature you control to its owner's hand. So as you see here, it is letting you know that there are other ways to play the game, but when it does that, it does also explain what they actually do, which I think is a really cool way about going about this. It helps players understand, but they will always, which is one thing I really like, always explain what essentially the new effects do. In regards to the old ones, there's like flying, there's death touch, lifelink, which are pretty standard, but it won't have a paragraph to explain that. It will simply just say death touch. It doesn't need a whole spiel that if this card is attacked, then the creature that attacked it will be destroyed at the end of the turn, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't need all that. It'll just say death touch, which therefore frees the card up and makes it a lot less chaotic and easier to use. So in regards to card design, the way the game's played, I think it is very beginner friendly. There's not a lot to remember. It's just new sets and things like that. However, here's where we get into the fun part. Remember how I had two decks? These are two different formats. Both require a deck. Both require a different number of cards. So in this deck, you may be familiar with what this is. This is, it's actually going to tell me. Beautiful. I have to do a lot less work. Fantastic. So in here, I have 99 cards, 100. Those of you who know Magic the Gathering know exactly what that is. And here is 60 cards. Those of you who know Magic know exactly what that is. That is the standard deck for standard format. Henceforth, it's a standard deck. This is my commander deck. Appreciate the spin, Geezer. This is the pre-built Geezer and Gerolf deck here, which is pretty cool. They've had to do this to get everything set up. The difference between the two is the fact that this is a 99 card deck essentially with a bunch of tokens. With a bunch of lands and everything, it's already pre-built. It's got everything you need in it. Nothing more fancy than that. It's just 100 cards. The difference between the two main differences between the two is that the standard format is played in a 1v1 situation, whereas Commander is played in sort of a four-way, where there'll be 4 players at a game, and it's 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. And during that, you will be trying to obviously team up against the people that have more strength than you and can obviously do a lot more to harm you. Now, they are sort of the two main formats. However, I didn't realise that I also had this card. Popular Magic formats breaks it down. Standard. Use the standard format uses 60 card decks made up of the most recently released Magic sets. They tend to be, I think it's been in the last 2 years, those sets. Booster drafted packs. Players open booster packs and take turns picking cards. Standard draft format. If you know what that is, then brilliant. And then Commander, which we just looked at. Each player chooses a legendary creature to be their commander and builds a 99 card deck around that creature. And then obviously on the back tells you how to play the game. Bring it up. So you begin turn, your main phase, your combat, your main phase again, and then your end phase. Very simple, very simplistic, very nice. In regards to it, it's all very self-explanatory. If you are looking for tutorials, I'm going to be honest, I'm not your guy. You don't want to come to me for these tutorials. I'm just here to say whether it is beginner friendly. Now, as I say, Magic the Gathering has been around for a very long time, and that is something you need to consider when it comes to card pools, just because we're about to get Avatar, we've just had Spider-Man, Edge of Eternities, Takir, Aether Drift, Kamigawa, Kaldenheim, Streets of New Capena. Like, they're all relatively recent sets, and each one will bring hundreds of cards to it. There won't be just one, there'll be hundreds. Final Fantasy. So that is something you have to bear in mind, guys. There is a lot of cards, and there's always more cards coming out. So it isn't just a case of, I do recommend it is something, if you are looking to get into TCG, as far as I'm concerned, it is one of the easiest. If you're looking to play tournaments, it is going to be a lot more costly. Obviously, the better the cards, the shinier the cards, the more they cost. That's, you know, supply and demand. It's common sense. The better the card, the more it costs because more people want it and need it. However, there are cheaper ways to play. Shout out Neglected Onion. This is your pack. I'm just going to use it for this video because my wrapper is already in the bin, so I don't have one. They released these products called Shuffle Up and Play. It's a Jumpstart booster. Now, these differ from the normal because this is 20 cards. My play booster is 14. They tend to be around about 15 cards a pack. If we go for, I mean, Caldenham's not a great example because, once again, that's a 12 card set. I have a Takir Dragonstorm play booster. Is that going to say a 15? Nope, that's 14 as well. Cool. So it tends to be around 10 to 15 cards per booster, just to make my life awkward. I appreciate that, Wizards. The difference with these is I think it's a little bit more expensive than a regular booster, but as you can see, this has got a theme. This one's called Off the Coast, and in it you have all these cards and a bunch of lands, and you might be like, well, that's not great. There's no special cards. I mean, there is one, but there's no like foils. There's nothing fancy in there. Just a bunch of crabs and turtles. And that's because the idea is you get 2 of these. Obviously, take that card out of it. Put them together. Give it a quick shuffle. And then you've got a 40-card deck to try, which I think is phenomenal. It's really easy to get into and understand when you don't have to think, oh, how do I make a deck? What cards do we need? What kind of land ratios do I need? It's already done. I think it's a great way as well to do a little mini draft as well. Each buy a couple of packs, put them on the table. People pick their packs and make their deck on the back of that, really. So yes, in terms of playing and products, Magic the Gathering is very simplistic. This deck is a pre-built constructed from the Final Fantasy. And what they do, which is really cool, they always put 2 in there. For the standard decks, they always put 2. So you and your friend can go halves on it or alternate on who's buying. So for instance, I bought the Final Fantasy. My friend Neglected Onion, he bought, I think it was the Bloom Burrows or something like that. So we've each got a deck. Well, technically we both have 2 decks, but we've only bought 1 box each, which I think is a fantastic way to go. Obviously, these are a bit more expensive. Let me turn that the right way. These tend to cost a little bit more, for obvious reasons, there's more cards. It's only one deck per thing you're buying. Realistically, I would suggest starting out with standard. It is the more beginner-friendly approach. And then once you're a bit more confident and comfortable, then you can certainly look at expanding into the other formats Magic has to offer, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really important that needs to be brought up and shared with you guys in regards to whether it's beginner friendly, because as far as I'm concerned, Magic it's heavily beginner friendly out of all the TCGs. The main issues is costs and things like that. Magic can get very expensive, not expensive as Pokemon, but it does get up there in price, and that unfortunately is the issue. Product wise, there's a lot of stuff out there to help the new players. If you guys aren't aware and you're thinking of trying Magic but don't want to invest the funds straight away, Magic the Gathering Arena, fantastic little bit of utility. Teaches you how to play the game firstly, explains all the colours, what they do, the differences between them, and obviously how to play the game, what the game does. Now, that being said, obviously, it is still Magic the Gathering, so it can be quite costly. That's the thing. Even the arena is quite costly. But don't let that deter you guys. Magic the Gathering, as far as I'm concerned, is probably one of the most beginner-friendly, popular, top 4, top 5 TCGs that is out there. And I think we're going to see for the future a lot of TCGs copy the way Magic do things. As obviously, it's so well established. It is one of the main points, one of the main things that they do. It's been so solidified. It is what it is at this point. It's huge. But my honest opinion, yes, Magic the Gathering is beginner friendly. There are plenty of ways to learn to play the game. The community is amazing. There are plenty of YouTube channels explaining how to play the game if that's what you want to physically learn. If you want to collect, there are plenty of ways for you to collect. There's booster packs just for essentially if you want to play the game. Then they do collector's booster packs, which is more expensive, but you're more likely to get the special cards, the full arts, the shinies, all of that good jazz, which I really like. It does break it down so that if you are looking to just collect, you go for the collectors. If you are looking to play, then obviously you do a bit of both. And if you're just looking for a bit of in between, then you can just stick to the play boosters. The cheaper, it got all the cards in it anyway. Who cares if it's not the fancy one? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. There isn't a lot more to cover on it. It is a case of there is the information out there. My opinion is there isn't a lot of card variation in regards to what there is. I think there's only like 5 types of cards altogether. There's new mechanics every set, I want to say, which is good. It keeps the game fresh, it keeps it updated, but it is something new to learn. But it doesn't overpower the cards. They'll always explain it on that set, and the rest will just have the keyword index, which I think is fantastic. Makes it very easy to understand when you're looking at a card. You see Death Touch, you know that card has Death Touch, and it doesn't need a whole paragraph of spiel about it. Then there are plenty of ways to get into it and start it, whether it's just buying packs, decks, the foundations to jumpstart yourself in there. There's bundles as well, which will have. Well, go check the video. It's the simplest way what you get in there, because you do get quite a bit. But honestly, guys, if you are thinking about getting into Magic, or you've got a family member that's getting into Magic, join them. I've got my friend who has got into Magic recently. He hasn't really played TCGs in his life, unlike me. I kind of grew up around them. He was able to pick this up very quickly and understand what was going on. And this isn't a dig at him. I'm not throwing shade at him. But if he can do it, then that really solidifies the fact that someone with zero experience can come into the game and very quickly understand how to play it and know what he's looking for and know what he wants. So if you have enjoyed the video, buy some Magic packs. That will be the best way to go about it. Buy a deck. Go with a friend, split the cost, buy one of those two standard deck pack things, and then just go and play. Enjoy. But until next time, guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys all later. Goodbye.